Believe it or not, there are some reasons that you might not want to move to Texas. In this video, I'm going to go over a couple of reasons why Texas might not be the state for you. We're going to talk about things like the weather, politics, football, a little bit about hospitality, and maybe even religion. We're going to be talking about guns, God, and the GOP. No topic is off the table in this video. I'm Jennifer Fallow, and along with my husband, Brandon, we run Fallow Realtor team here in the North Texas area. So we are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We have both lived here our entire lives, so we know a lot about Texas and North Texas specifically. So at the end of this video, if you're still interested in thinking about moving to Texas, make sure that you give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. All that information is in the description below, but I said we were going to talk about some reasons why you might not want to move to Texas, so let's get to it right now. Okay, what's one of the first things you think about when you think about Texas? It's got to be the weather. So today, it is November 1st. So the weather is great. Actually, we had our first freeze 2 nights ago in October. That's only the 10th time on record that we have had a freeze in October. So pretty rare, but especially in North Texas, the weather is literally going to be all over the map. And it was 28 degrees when I woke up this morning. That's not very normal, but by the end of the week, I think it's going to be in the 50s at night. So, you know, it's Texas. Whenever we're changing from one season to the other, we definitely have an identity crisis. We can't figure out what season we're in for several weeks. Then we finally settle in for a little bit before we move on to the next season. But Texas is hot in the summer. I'll be honest, the last 2 summers have been brutal. The summer before last, which was in 2021, 115 degrees in North Texas. That's not normal at all. Like I said, I've always grown up here. I remember as a little kid calling time and temp because there was no internet, there weren't things like that. And so every day you call the time and temp and it would be, 106. You're like, oh my gosh, it's 106. That's normal. In August, we are definitely going to top over 100 for pretty much the entire, maybe for the entire month of August. But 2 years ago, 115 for several days. It was disgusting. And then it leveled out like it normally would. Well, then this last year, okay, so it was 2022 when we reached 115. Well, this year in 2023, for some reason, we already hit 100 in June. We went through a little bit of heat wave, then it went normal, and then August came and we were at 100, 102, 103, all the way to mid-September. That is rare. When it only gets down to maybe 85 at night, it's not a good sign. So it doesn't happen every summer, but driving around town right now, everybody's grass is just literally dead. Plants are dead. Yeah. So, we're still recovering. Our landscape is still recovering from the major Ice-Mageddon freeze of 2021. And then we had these crazy, crazy summers. So yes, the weather is bipolar. Sometimes it can't make up its mind. And here's another thing in Texas, but here's why I love the heat. If you love the heat, come to Texas. So today it was 28 degrees. I had a function to go to. What do I do with my coat once I get inside? We're in Texas. We don't have coat racks. So it's really frustrating when it gets cold for a lot of people because we don't want to wear coats. Does it go with your outfit? Does it not? I don't know. But I will say one thing that Texas does have that's really great. We have a lot of lakes. And we have the ocean. Yes, I know you had to drive down south to get there, but we do have beautiful beaches and we have lakes, we have the ocean. If you drive east, you're gonna see the beautiful pine trees. It gets really pretty out there. If you live in Austin or somewhere close to Austin, Marble Falls, places like that, the rocks and hills are just gorgeous. And even the flat plains here in Fort Worth and Dallas are still very pretty. So Texas weather is definitely something to consider. And yes, we do get tornadoes up here in North Texas. I've lived here my whole life and have never actually seen one with my eyes. It's very rare that in the city I live in Denton, Texas, that we actually have a touchdown. And if we do, it's never been significant. So yeah, not too bad where I live when it comes to tornadoes. But yes, we do have them here in North Texas. Let's talk a little bit about Southern hospitality. I know I say that might not be a reason that you want to move to Texas, because a lot of people up north and even in California, from what I hear, it's just not the same. We say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Even as adults, we say that to somebody. We teach our children, that's how you address adults. That's what we say. Well, in other places, that's considered rude. But that's what we do. That's what we teach our children. We open the door for people. We talk to people, or I do in the grocery store, a complete stranger that's walking by. I smile and say hello. If we're both looking for the same item, we talk about it. So there's just a lot of things that we do here in Texas that isn't done so much in New York or Chicago or California. My daughter just went on a mission trip to New York this summer in 2023. She was there for 8 weeks. And she said,
"You do not hold the door open for people. They will look at you strange and wonder what you want from them."
And I just thought, how horrible is it to not have that hospitality or that respect or that consideration for other people? But some people take it as, what do you want from me? When I go for a walk around the neighborhood, I always say hello to the stranger who I'm walking past. So if you're not someone who really enjoys that, well, you don't have to participate, for one thing, but just know that in Texas, we are a hospitable state. When I'm checking out at the grocery store or any store, I'm going to engage with that person and just talk to them, make small talk. Same with, our wait staff at a restaurant. You kind of get to know them and you talk to them. So that's just the way that we do that here a lot in Texas, especially maybe in the suburbs of the big cities. So yeah, we've got a lot of hospitality here. That's why they call it Southern hospitality, but it's not for everyone. So if you are from up north or even from California and you come here, nobody's out to get you. Nobody wants anything from you. This is just the way we are. Okay, another thing, high school football. And I know football, is big in every state, especially college football. But specifically, high school football is king here in Texas, and the smaller the town, the bigger it is. We call it Friday Night Lights here. It's high school football, and a lot of people go to the games, especially, like I said, in small towns. You're going to see pretty much everyone at the game participating. The students get involved, so it's actually a really fun thing. But high school as a sport in Texas does seem to kind of trump all the other sports in school. And speaking of sports, we are huge Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers fans. I know that there's, the Astros, but they didn't make it this year to the World Series, but the Rangers did. So, as Texans, true Texans, we love the Dallas Cowboys. Please put in the comments if I'm wrong, because I know there's some of you out there that do not like the Dallas Cowboys. But if you're from Texas and you're watching this and you really don't like them, let me know why. I don't know why you wouldn't. I know they haven't been to the Super Bowl in a really, 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 really long time, but I am not a fair weather fan. I root for the Cowboys, whether they're doing well or they're not doing well. So if you live in Texas, be prepared that if you're coming from another state, especially if you like the Eagles, that might be a little bit of a problem for you. Let's talk about taxes, something that everybody absolutely loves. Okay, so in Texas, we are known to have higher property tax rates than a lot of other states. So yeah, we do. We have a higher property tax rate. The average property tax rate in Texas is about 1.8%. Where I live here in North Texas, it's 1.9. Last year it was 2.1. So yes, if you have a house that is valued, now this is the taxable value. If it's valued at $500,000, which means your house is going to actually be more than that, but the value is going to be $500,000, well, you're paying roughly $10,000 a year in property tax. So that's a lot. Good news though, we just voted on and hopefully will pass. I guess we'll know soon. I think it'll pass. We have homestead exemption, where it reduces your appraised value by $40,000 only for the school tax though. Well, hopefully it'll pass, and I'm sure it will. It's going to reduce your appraised value when it comes to school taxes, which is the bulk of your taxes. It's going to reduce it by $100,000. That is going to save homeowners a good amount of money. So, yep, we do have higher property tax. We are getting a new homestead exemption, cap there. So that's really good. $40,000 versus $100,000 is absolutely amazing, and it's on the bulk of your taxes. So there's that, but we don't have a state income tax. So maybe a little bit of a wash there. So yes, we have higher property taxes, but we are going to see some relief there here pretty soon. Okay, here's another thing. Texans love Texas. Okay, they just do. And I'm sure, a lot of other states it's the same way, but Texans love Texas. And they're going to remind you that's the only state where the flag is allowed to fly at the same height, the same as the American flag. Just the way it is. It's here in Texas. But Texans love Texas, and you're going to find a lot of people that are very protective of Texas, and they're very protective of their politics. So that kind of leads me into the other reason why Texas might not be for you. Texas as a whole is conservative. Now, when you get into the big cities like Dallas and Houston, Austin, and San Antonio even leans a little bit more liberal as well. They're not conservative. They definitely lean more liberal. Now, Fort Worth does lean more conservative. But as soon as you get outside in the suburbs of those 5 major cities that I mentioned, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio, those are going to be your conservative cities. And Texans are very protective of that. You'll often hear people say,
you can move to Texas, but don't bring your politics with you if you're from a very liberal state.
That's just the way it is here. So you can tell me in the comments how you feel about that. But you're going to find a lot of that here in Texas, that we are very protective of our state. But there's something that Texans might be even more passionate about, and that is the Second Amendment. Don't get a Texan started on gun rights and the possibility of even taking them away. It'll be a never-ending conversation, and you're probably not going to win. So Texans love the right to have a gun in their home, to protect themselves, or really for whatever reason, simply because the Second Amendment says so. So they're very protective of that, passionate about protecting those rights. So if that is something that you have a completely opposite view on, well, just be forewarned that here in Texas, that is something that they are very passionate about and are very adamant about protecting. Okay, religion. I told you we were going to get onto all the things. So religion is another thing. Look, there are all kinds of religions here in Texas. So you're not going to hear me say anything about that. But there is a lot of religion here in Texas. We say, God bless you. We say, Merry Christmas. We say the pledge at most of the schools still say the Pledge of Allegiance that has God in it. There are churches literally just about on every corner in every town in Texas. And that can be all kinds of churches. It's all kinds of denominations. And of course, in the big cities is where you're going to have non-Christian denominations. So, you can find all kinds of places to worship here in Texas. It's not just going to be, Christian churches or Catholic churches or Methodist or Episcopalian or Lutheran, things like that. You're going to have all kinds of places to worship, synagogues, mosques, in the bigger cities. Now, in the smaller suburbs, probably going to be a little bit more difficult to find. But just know that Texas is we're in the Bible Belt, and it's called the Bible Belt for a reason. So the majority of Texas is those who identify as religious are going to identify as Christian. So if that is something that you just don't think you can handle, maybe Texas isn't the right place for you, or you just need to find the right place in Texas that is for you, a place where you can go to worship where you want to worship, because those places do exist. But when it comes to religion, just know we lean more Christian, and then politically more conservative. So those are some pretty big things to think about if you're thinking about moving to Texas. Like I said, it's a great state, even if the weather can be a little wonky at times. Even though we love high school football and the Dallas Cowboys, and we lean more conservative, and most people identify as Christian, it is still a great place to live. But those are just some things that you really should know before you uproot your life and move to the great state of Texas. Hey, we've got a lot of videos out there specifically about the North Texas area, North Dallas area. So if that's a move that you are considering, then make sure you check out those videos, and we'll see you on the next one.